2025 love stories. You're in a relationship already. What might happen based on your sign? How will the year go for you and the one you're with? If you are single looking for love, we'll address how new love might show up for you based on your sign in 2025. We're going to play romantic love story astrology together here. And, I love this topic so much. I've taught a class on synastry, that's relationship astrology. And I'm teaching a class in about 2 or 3 months. It's on my website. And that's going to be on how to know when new love will come, like when will love find you for you singletons out there. So go ahead and check that class out too. I'll put the link of that live Zoom class in my description box, and replays are available. But in the meantime, I thought it would be fun, or just fun to do this topic as something lighthearted. And with astrology in general, we can make assumptions that are true for all signs, which is what I call general bell curve astrology. But do remember, like if I say something like you're going to be lucky in love or you're going to win the lottery, that's not like I don't say you're going to win the lottery. I'd say a higher percentage chance that this sign will win some money in this month or come into some love stuff this month. So we're looking at general bell curve astrology. This is not a private reading, but it's fun to look at the general themes of 25 for each sign when it comes to relationships, whether you're in one now and you want to know how that is going to likely feel or how it's likely to go, some suggestions about how to keep the love lasting if you want, but also what if you're looking for love and is it going to be likely a lucky year? When it comes to looking for love and also staying in love or staying with somebody, we're often looking at Venus stories, the ruler of the 5th house, the ruler of the 7th house. We're also looking quite often, I do for clients' charts at zodiacal releasing of the lot of love. So there's many, many ways to tackle it. I use an ancient tool from India with my clients to find which spouse you're with now and which ones are coming next. If one spouse is kind of falling down on you, or like you're not too sure you want to stick together. So we're going to use a general tool called the ruler of the 7th, ruler of the 5th, activities in the 5th and 7th house, and the actions of Venus for each sign in 2025. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Lori Lothian. I'm using the Western Tropical Zodiac and Whole Sign House Astrology. If you want to learn more about how to cast your own chart in whole sign houses, for example, and my meanings of the 12 houses PDF guidebook, those are both free. And the links to get those are in my description box below. Click the more button and scroll down. And also, my 2025 all signs bundles are still for sale, or the individual signs. Its sale price ends at the end of January, and you get a 2-hour plus video for your sign, PDF guidebook, quarterly breakdown, help you navigate the year ahead. And those products are still available on sale, 25% off. Check my description box. All right. Now, some of you are going to say you like my hair. I just got back from having it blow dried and cut by my hairdresser at Yaletown Hair Studio in Vancouver, Canada, Sue Kim. And if any of my listeners are in Vancouver and you want to go check her out, she's amazing. Attention to detail. She's a Pisces sun, and I'm going to guess she is a Pisces rising. I've never seen someone take so much time to precision cut and then, of course, artistically blow dry. If only I could blow dry my hair like this. But I told her I'd give her a shout out on today's video. Recording this on Thursday, January 16th for my Patreon community. You guys here in YouTube land will get this with the ads, and also later on Sunday, a few days later. So if you like early access ad-free content, check my Patreon community as well. Let's talk about love stories. Okay, let's talk about love stories. Well, okay, so one of the things I would say here as we go into 2025 is that, just a general story before I do your sign, is that Venus is the planet that represents love, romance, and actually marriage. Okay, that's one of her wheelhouse portfolios that she's in charge of. And she's going to do a star point or enter the heart of the sun on the 22nd of March at 2 degrees of Aries. Well, she's also sextiling Pluto in early Aquarius. And we haven't seen that any of us, anywhere, anytime, anyhow in our lives. In fact, I'm going to put together a little 6-week Venus retrograde class. You're welcome to join me. I'll be sharing more about that. Maybe I'll have a sign up link in the description box below. It's going to be extremely well priced. I really want to get more people through that course with me, with 6 weeks of calls and some guided meditations and a deeper understanding of what it's like to go through a Venus star point retrograde, right? She's going to be retrograding to the heart of the sun, starts retrograding March 1st, but also in a sextile to Pluto and Aquarius, which is a flowing, harmonious energy. And sextiles are the nature of Venus herself. And that's not happened in our lifetimes. That has not happened because Pluto hasn't been here for 250 years. And we need a Venus star point in Aries. And honestly, if I do the math, and I will for the class, this could be thousands of years rare. Thousands of years rare. So if you want to learn how to navigate this, please join me. But I want to bring up a general thought about this right now, and that is, this is an extraordinary time when it comes to the themes that Venus will care about, which is in general, our long-term committed friendships and love relationships. And for her to join with the sun from a retrograde between the Earth and the sun, she's going to hook up with the sun on the 22nd of March and set in motion a 10-month story. That's how long it takes. She's pregnant with a new possibility. It takes 10 months to fully reveal it, but it's going to be exciting because that Pluto sextile is bringing in something new. So keep that in mind. We're going to go do all signs now. I'm going to riff on your sign. Of course, we'll start with Aries. And when I say riff, there's a lot going on in 2025. I can't possibly spend an hour here. That's why you'll want to get my 2025, individual sign or bundle. But here we go. Let's have fun. Number one, Aries. Let's talk about you and love in 2025. Libra is your 7th house of long-term committed love relationships. And you can see that there's nothing happening. Well, I've got it set for January 16th. Things will happen in this part of your sky. Planets will transit there. Absolutely. Most importantly, on the big, broad brushstroke archetypal energy, you are ending the transit of the South Node through the house of significant long-term love. That began, the actual transit of the South Node through here began in July of 2023 and is completed on January 12th of 2025. And alongside of this, there were eclipses in Libra. Particularly notable was the eclipse of October of 2023, a total solar eclipse. So eclipses through the marriage house with the South Node of letting go, surrender, release, may have stressed your long-term committed love relationship out. But there's another side to it. Stressed it out as in you were highly attentive to yourself, that you were focused on you, that you were taking energy away from that part of your chart. But there is another meaning. The South Node wants us to go into the spiritual, K2, the spiritual, true, more, connected to the divine aspect of reality. And for some people, that could have meant a few things: deepening the spiritual connection with your long-term love story person. It could also have indicated something along the lines of meeting a long-term love soulmate and getting into a long-term relationship with somebody that felt familiar or feels like you've known them in a past life. Now, like I would say, for a lot of us, it's going to be most accurate for our rising sign, but it's probably secondarily most accurate for our sun sign as well. So you just listen for both today and see which one fits. And that South Node transit is completely done. You can wipe your hands of it, except that we have a March to 29th eclipse in an Aries. And so it's going to radiate energy from the Aries part of the sky, you, where your sun, moon, or rising might be, all the way to your marriage house. So let's put it this way. Do you have a ascendant or a sun or a moon in the sign of Aries, a near 9 degrees of Aries? So let's go 6 to 12. Then this is going to be a guitar string across the sky into the house of your marriage partner or long-term love story. Single people looking for love, South Node is gone, but that doesn't matter. We still have an eclipse reverbing across the way, could bring in a new story. Challenged relationship, wondering if you're ever going to get out from underneath this hot mess of this long-term committed love story. Doesn't have to be marriage. You've been together for a while. You're monogamous. You may live together. Well, that could also be a breaking or an ending point, that the universe opens up a door for you to leave. And honestly, with the North Node, of fate moved into your 12th house and the South Node of fate moved into your 6th house in 2025, you may also find that this is the end of what you need to do or figure out about, should I stay or should I go? I'm talking to those of you who are going to be going, right? And once you get the South Node into the 6th house, it could literally look like the beginning of the division of assets, as it begins with the North Node trining and the South Node sextiling the house of shared assets in a marriage, your 8th house. And so this one could be a final straw type of eclipse for those relationships where you Aries are thinking, oh, this is not going to work. All right. Otherwise, any relationships that you are going through already, that are already existent and not struggling, once we see the South Node leaving and the eclipse is finishing up. So you just got to get through the Aries eclipse on March 29th. It's a solar eclipse, so it can influence the relationship up to a year later. Then the turbulence is letting up a little bit. Now, just for you, of course, I really have to talk about the Venus star point. On March 22nd, Venus in the heart of the sun retrogradation is a lot like 2017. I'd like you to go back to your life in 2017 and see what was happening, because this is when Venus also co-joined the sun from retrogradation, and it has a similar feel. This also happened in 2021 in the spring, but it's a lot more like the whole journey of March of 2017 and the 10 months that followed, right? She's pregnant with something new. It takes 9.5 months before she does another star point in another sign. So you're going to feel, okay, this could remind me March 22nd, 2025, add 10 months. This could add till the end of the year. This could remind me of what my life was like in 2017 and possibly 2021. What was going on with you and long-term committed love and romantic sexual partnerships. And I'm bringing the romantic piece in because, of course, her star point sextiles your Leo fifth house of dating, romantic love, lover love, that kind of thing, less serious love. And so this could also be a very strong energy for you. And I would say that whether you're looking for a romantic lover partner or you're in a long-term relationship, the star point wants to set a new tone for either type of relationship, finding a new love relationship, dating someone new, changing the tonal quality, like birthing a new way to be in the relationship with your significant other. And Mars will be in your house of romantic love, which brings either great passion or great tempestuous storms. And he'll be here April 18th to June, the April 17th to June the 18th or so. Mars in your fifth house in the wake of that star point. So if you're single, this definitely can look like a lot of romantic love, someone new coming in, a lot of passion. If you're in a relationship, a lot of sex, a lot of passion, mid-April to mid-June could be initiated by this story. And I don't know if there's anything else I have to say for you. Reminding you that Venus is the Lord of your marriage house, and she does do a lot of action in your 12th house, which could indicate that some singletons here, she'll be in and out of your 12th house because of retrogradation until, goodness gracious, until May. This could look a lot like you might be looking for or finding love in far off lands, distant places with foreigners because of foreign travel, or traveling with your long-term love partner, your marriage partner abroad and having adventures as well. That's another thing I see for some of you in 2025. So let me know how it goes, Aries. And let me know how it went when all those eclipses were going through your sky, 2023, 2024, with the last gasp on March 29th of 2025. Taurus, what about you? What about love? love for you in 2025? Well, let's start off by talking about long-term committed love. Your seventh house of marriage and long-term commitment is a place that Mars died in the heart of the sun on November 17th, 2023. This is simply to say that Mars had pushed a reset button in your marriage house. And therefore, if you're already with somebody, if you've been in a long-term relationship, I'm sorry about the dinging. Let me turn my volume off on my computer. If you've been in those long-term relationships, then your relationship had or was begging for a reset button. Okay. Now, of course, the seventh house is where we're committed to someone, and Mars is ending, cutting, severing, and he's in the heart of the sun. Now, sure, you may have had some breakups with business partners, some really big disasters with legal contracts and vows, and those are matters of the seventh house. But when it comes to love, this is not the most easy energy. All I can say is good news. Good news, Mars was in a condition of his own kingdom. And so if a relationship is still to come to an end, because that November of 2025 Cazimi is still in play until November 2023. Cazimi is resetting the seventh house for you through to the fall, November of 2025. So you've still got 2025 to see what this is for. Now, Juno is a goddess of marriage, and she's been hanging out in your marriage house for quite a bit of time. And that can bring an existing relationship into a deeper level of commitment. Is it time to settle down, move in together, get proposals, get married, that kind of thing? And so I'm going to give you a little time frame for Juno leaving this part of your sky, because she's already been here for quite a while, and we'll just get that timing right for us here. Oh, sorry, we're gonna zig all over the place, but I think because of retrogradation, she's been here for a few months. So I apologize. Don't get dizzy. Close your eyes. I'm getting dizzy. Okay, so we're back in March I'm in March. Okay. In March, she leaves. Okay. At the end of March. No, beginning of March. Okay. So having her here since approximately approximately November the 8th. So let's say November, December of 24 through to January and February of 25, it's a really good time in an existing relationship to bring a deeper consolidation of commitment, including, as I said, do you want to up-level the relationship in a fundamental way so that it begins to represent for you, we're really in this together. We're committed. There are vows happening. We're gonna move in. We're gonna get engaged. We're gonna make this work. So that's a theme that doesn't really end till March. Well, one of the other notes I have for you is you've been going through a lot with this Uranus algol Mars conjunction that happened on July 15th, 2025, which is like a hair-raising energy. And it's happening in you, to you, but you're looking at this energy at your marriage, business contracts, partners, house. And this conjunction of Mars to Uranus that hasn't happened in thousands of years this way, well, not on algol, in July of 2024, doesn't finish its full narrative for 2 whole years. Okay. So you're all through 2025, you're under the Mars Uranus spell. And that can be some surprising, sudden, exciting, and jolting or jarring developments in a long-term committed love, or in meeting somebody with whom you would like to make a long-term committed love story happen. And I want to address those sun in particular and rising sign Taurus, when your sun or rising sign is between approximately 20 and 26 or 7 degrees, 20, no, let's go 20 to 29 degrees of Taurus. This means that algol star and that conjunction in July is very important to you, and you're feeling the reverb. So you could make dramatic, exciting, and exhilarating changes in the way you exist in a long-term love story. And you're going to be the one in charge of it, more or less, making radical decisions and exciting and exhilarating choices in love. But you're the sign that also has the possibility of a new love story emerging, meaning a soulmate love. The South Node is now traveling through your 5th house. Now, I remember when this happened to me, I thought, I'm going to meet my soulmate. And all it meant was I had a North Node transit through the 5th house, and all I did was spend more time focusing on my daughter, because it's a house of children. So it can go many ways, but because it's a South Node in the house of children, sure. Kid moves out of the home, you're spending less time with your kids, you're more distant from your children, there's less attention on them. But this is also romantic love. Okay, it is that. And you've had a reset button in your 7th house by Mars. It doesn't end until the end of 2025. So as the South Node is moving through here, all of January of this year through to the summer of 2026, this could very well lead you into a very destined, very fated, very past life feeling connection in a new romantic love story. And if any relationships started before this, like you're just dating the person, and this could also end that relationship. South Node says, let this one go. It's like catch and release, not the right one for me. But because it's an 18-month transit, don't get disheartened here. There is going to be, for example, a very powerful eclipse here in September. And that eclipse itself can be, because Venus is all tangled up in it, can really ignite a new love story for you. So singletons, that's going to say to me, during the whole of 25, new love and romance can show up. And the September eclipse has a kind of unique potency to it, to kind of, with a Venus connected to it. That eclipse has one of 2 ways of going in September at about 6 months. Okay, it could look like, or even a year, it could look like a portal to a brand new soulmate love story that could last up to a year after the September eclipse. Or on the other hand, it could similarly look like a kind of radical ending to a romantic relationship, because Venus will be in her fall, and it could say, oh, it's time to let that one go. Now, there's a windstorm outside here. I'm in Vancouver, Canada, and I hear like really big rattling on my deck. So I'm going to just go make sure that the furniture isn't flying all over the place. Okay. And I'll be right back. Some of you like to see where I live. I don't know if it's too bright to actually see. There you go. There's Vancouver, Canada. Let me go check what's rattling around up there. I'll be right back. Nothing blew off. Like the barbecue didn't go flying through the sky. It is windy as all heck. All right. So the last thing I want to say for you guys, you're kind of running romance on eclipse fumes, right? And that means that destined changes in long-term committed love and romantic love, like dating, sexuality, romance, lovers, true love. This is a story. This is only something you get every 18 years. You had this kind of eclipse cycle for love energy. And, there's an eclipse here also in the spring. There's a full moon eclipse. No, let me just check my eclipse dates for you. Hang on. I got a nice little eclipse chart here. Remind myself. Oh, yeah. So you have, you have had eclipses through this part of your sky, 2006, 7, and 8, right? 2006, 7, and 8, and back in the 80s as well, like 87, 88, 89 or so. So what I'm trying to get to is that you're on eclipse fumes when it comes to long-term love and commitment and romance, and these mean destined changes in your status quo regarding love. So for example, especially the eclipse is going to occur in your Virgo 5th house on March 14th, which is going to be important. It's going to be a lunar eclipse. And then another eclipse is going to happen September 21st. It's a solar eclipse. Those are very critical stories for you. And they can generate new love and they can unplug old love. Again, we're talking general bell curve astrology. Do not think of this as a personal reading. So there you go. But if you're single, there's a good chance that some of you won't be by the end of 25 or mid 2026. Now, let's talk about some general themes for the Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign people. And I want to, go back just a smidgen for you guys. And you Tauruses could find new love from far foreign shores and distant places with the energy of the 12th house activation in the star point, indicating a possibility that Venus could generate new long-term love relationships or romantic love stories from far off shores and distant lands. Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. All right, Gemini. First of all, it's a known transit that Jupiter through the first house can bring new love, especially committed love, but also romantic love, as Jupiter, the greater benefic, traveling through this part of your sky just makes you lucky. And he flows to the house of romance and he looks across at the house of commitment. So if you are going through this transit and you wanted to find a love story and you're looking for love, then you've got this ongoing, started last year, 3rd week of May, and it does not finish up until June the 9th, giving you a strong possibility of coming into a new love story if you're looking for that love story during this window of time. And it's even more important to go against the canvas of a larger backdrop, like to look at the larger picture. Venus star pointed in October of 2022 in your 5th house of long-term committed love, of romantic love, of true love, of falling in love. And that star point hasn't expired. It really runs for 4 years until October of 2026. So you're in an October of 22 to 26 window of time in which big love, great love, higher love, soul love can emerge for you. And if you met somebody already in that time, that window of time, then that's the backdrop. You're already with that person. But if you haven't, it's still ongoing. And with Jupiter in your first house, bringing you luck in yourself and new relationships. This is still playing out until June the 9th. So there you go. February 4th, Jupiter will go direct. And although he has been retrograde since October 9th and will be retrograde till February 4th, that could mean that you could bring some love stories back from the past. You might be getting in touch with, or people from your past in the 7th house, long-term commitment or romantic love could be pulled into the wake of a retrograde Jupiter. But more likely, if you're using this transit correctly, you're deepening your own connection to what you desire and what you want love to look like in your life. Jupiter is deepening the wisdom, the knowing of how you approach romantic, sexual, and long-term love. And sometimes it could even be a time out from love where you go inward and look at your inner love guru for answers. Now, certainly February 4th through to June the 9th, looking for love, love could step in because that's Jupiter's, fast motion wind up after retrograde, and he's springing forward, offering you all of the options of February, March, and April, May for love, and therefore new dating opportunities should be taken for singletons. And if you're in a relationship, it should strengthen and fortify the relationship, most likely. Now, the other element here, my humble opinion, right? Because not everyone's going to have everything happening, that's particularly germane. But because the South Node left your house of sexuality, romantic love, falling in love on January 12th, it's possible that looking behind you, again, you're already there. You met somebody, you're in a new relationship, or the love relationship that you're in has gotten more soulful and deep. And that South Node transit through your fifth house, right? It's been a while, right? It would have been July of 2023. You felt a first eclipse open the doors in April, by the way, April of 23. So you go April of 23, if you like, through to the last eclipse in Aries on March the 29th. So there's one more coming this year. And so the whole bottom line here is either you guys let go of a sexual romantic love relationship in that window behind us, or you brought in a soulmate love relationship, right? That was the South Node transiting through the Gemini's fifth house. But the last eclipse is still going to look across from Aries and look down at your love house. And that's romance, sex, you're not married, living with kids with a mortgage and all that. This is like, you're still dating, sort of, right? This is not a full-time thing yet. Well, that last eclipse on the March 29th will look down here from up here. It's going to be up here, 9 degrees of Aries, look down here. So anyone in Gemini, sun, moon, and rising closer to 9 degrees are really going to feel the reverb of that eclipse. And it doesn't have to end the relationship by any means. The node has moved on, but it could actually lead to a change of home connected to that love relationship. That love relationship that has already formed underneath the sky of the last 2 years could now indicate a change of home, a new home, a letting go of a home connected to that relationship. So just keep that general theme in mind. When Jupiter enters into his exaltation in your second house, right, which is going to happen on June the 9th, and he'll be there for a year, he is angular to the house of romantic love. And that could also indicate some activation of new love in that year that follows, June to June. But I like what I've already mentioned before as much more relative and relevant to the storyline. And Pluto in Aquarius is sextiling your seventh house. And this is the first time that you felt this for so long, all of 2025 and for the next 20 years. And just the sextile from Pluto alone could bring a new relationship into your life, but it would be connected to foreigners, foreign people, foreign lands, or a new powerful deepening of an existing third marriage. What I mean by third marriage is the third long-term committed live-in love relationship, common law or marriageable. And that could be a Pluto bringing a deepening of more potency and power to that relationship, but it does connect you to also the energies of far off foreign shores, foreign lands, foreigners, foreign places. And so it could indicate the beginning of new love with a foreigner if you're single in 2025, or a deepening of an existing relationship with someone who's from another country, a foreigner, has a different passport than you, and maybe a really some powerful excavation of the purpose of the relationship. Why are we together? What's this relationship for? That's what Pluto will help you do in your existing marriage or in a new relationship in 25. What is this relationship for? What meaning does it have in my life? What am I supposed to do with this? What's the purpose of the relationship? Cancer, sun, moon, and a rising sign. Again, I think sun and rising are most accurate here, but you could try all three. And let's go on and talk about Pluto leaving your seventh house, because that's pretty well the main intensity that a lot of Cancers have lived through since 2008. Pluto in the long-term committed love house, the marriage house, the monogamy house. And, I've had stories, guys, one Cancer rising friend, the husband just said one day, I'm done, 20 years together, and took up with a young woman that was, working for them. Another one had an infidelity revelation. Another one had, my clients can tell me the some people lost their spouse. They became widowers or widows. I'm just saying, Pluto was in your seventh house of marriage, or you attracted narcissists and controlling and despotic and overwhelmingly toxic love partners could have happened too, or just wealthy love partners. But anyway, that you were committed to. So that story is over. So it's the first thing I'm drawn to say is, well, you got through it, right? And you don't have to worry about that anymore. Pluto's no longer going to be excavating the secrets and the hidden parts of your long-term love. And it seems like a lot of the people I know who went through some difficulty there, it was things they didn't know, right? Secrets that were being held back from them in their love stories. Because what's hidden from view is what's under the ground is Pluto. And the person keeping it under the ground would be your long-term committed love partner. And that even includes if your partner died, I bet you found something in the journal or in the paperwork that was a surprise to you. So there's just that. And it's done. It's complete. It's over. Hallelujah. Juno, the goddess of commitment, is traveling through your romance house, kind of like November to March 1st vibe. And this is a story, it's 2 months behind us. You get a couple more months in early 25. If you're dating or you're, out there on the market, this could indicate a love relationship that becomes serious very quickly. And the dating goes from dating to, like this is a thing, we're committing now, that we're monogamous. So that's a story that you've got active probably until March. Okay. Saturn is the lord of your seventh house, right? He's the guy who gives you commitment, and Mars is the lord of your fifth. And let's tell you a couple of things about that. Mars as lord of the fifth house will start going through the sign of Virgo, where the south node exists. And it's possible Mars is the lord of romance with his journey through the sign of Virgo. And when is that going to happen? That's going to be happening about mid-June, add 6 weeks. So mid-June to the end of July, Mars meeting up with the south node in the house of travel and the local neighborhood and the local environs and the neighbors. So shorter distance travel, local environment, neighbors and neighbors could propel a single Cancer into a brand new destined fated love story. Alrighty, that's where I'm going with that. Because the south node is past lives, Mars is the lord of romance, and again, the venues for meeting, short distance travel, sometimes learning environments, sometimes through the neighbors, the neighborhood, maybe through a sibling one younger than you, opens up a door mid-June, adds 6 weeks or so for a new love story. The thing with Saturn being lord of the seventh house, and especially Capricorn, a lot of Cancers mate for life, or they're trying to find the long game in their love stories. They're not philandering around usually. When they get married, they're trying to stick with it, stick to it, stick to their guns, right? And so Saturn in our real-time sky in 2025 is going to square your marriage house. I mean, he has been in your ninth house since March of 2023. And doesn't fully leave full time, like wipe his hands clear until February of 2026. But it is noteworthy that around the May 25th or so through until September 1st, Saturn will be in your 10th house squaring the axis of marriage. And I'm going to just say it could be a bit of a bumpy ride in your long-term committed love marriage story. This is more true if you're a Cancer sun, moon, or rising in the first 5 degrees of Cancer. All right, especially Cancer rising, 0 to 5 degrees, maybe. Really feeling this. Closer you are to 1 or 2 degrees of Cancer in the sun, moon, rising position, the more intensity you feel as Saturn forms a T-square between your ascendant and the marriage point, the descendant. Now, Saturn is the taskmaster of quality control. And he is squaring the marriage from the 10th house of reputation and career. And the only thing I can say that can destabilize your marriage up there is something to do with your work environment, pulling you away from the marriage and focus on the marriage, but also the reputation. And some hardship to your reputation might destabilize the marriage, basically. I don't know how that looks, but there's just something going on up there. And so there's a rough spot here to tend carefully to your relationship during that rough spot would be a good idea. And again, I think I was telling you the time was, third week of May to September 1st. But Juno is a goddess of divorce and Juno is a goddess of commitment. She does both she's two sides of the same damn coin in hundreds of clients' charts. And, if you know where Juno is in your chart, look for your Juno return. Usually there's a major change in love relationship status is every 5 years or so when Juno comes back to where she set when you were born. I'm just taking a look about, oh yeah, okay. I want to see when Juno, just if you're wondering what the hell I'm doing. I'm just checking out something that Juno's up to. Give me a minute. I want to get her into your full-on Sagittarius. There we go. Cancer. Okay, Cancer. Yeah, I want to get Juno in. Oh my God, Juno retrogrades back into Scorpio. I didn't even notice that. Yeeks. You Tauruses are going to definitely get married or divorced in 2025. Sorry about that, Taurus. I didn't realize she was going to back all the way back in there. Sorry, I'm losing my spot. I am losing my spot. I'm losing my religion. I want to get Juno forward enough in 25 if possible. Yeah, so not to worry too much in 2025. She's not really going to spend much time. All right, not much time for you in your she doesn't get to your marriage house until next year, 26. All right. So that Juno thing, spending forever in Scorpio, is interesting. Something I need to remember for other signs. Apologize about that, guys, that I didn't notice that before. All right. So we're moving forward into the next sign. I think I've said everything I wanted to, but Cancer, let me go back and look again, just in case I gave you short shrift here. What else can I tell you? Okay, so I have something else for you. Go back to around the 26th, 27th of January, 2024. Mars became a visible planet as he emerged from the sun's beams. And that Mars becoming visible indicates major changes in your long-term committed love relationship house, your seventh house, that lasts generally 2 years. So January of 24 to January of 2026. Mars is indicating major exalted change in the marriage house. And that could be so many different things. That could end up looking like a new love story. You're going to start a new exalted love with great passion and ardor. It could look like an ending, a cutting, and a severing that's very dramatic, intense, and yet the proper and right thing. So I will have to keep that there for you as a possibility of there's some major shifts going on here, 24, 25, all the way through both of those years. Maybe you felt some of them already. Maybe you've already been through it. And of course, I think I mentioned, Mars died in the heart of the sun in your fifth house to reset here November 17th of 23 to November of 2025, resetting love and romance as well. So big reset buttons going on here for you, big, exciting changes in these areas of your life. Mars is a cutter and an ender and a snipper. And so if you're in a marriage relationship that isn't really good for you and you feel, I don't like this place that I'm in still, even after Pluto left, then you could be in that still aftermath of the Mars rising in your seventh house of marriage that doesn't complete until the end of 2025, indicating you might want it to dip out. And then in 2026, with Juno, the divorce and marriage goddess, going through your seventh house, some of you might make decisions around legal separations, or if you're single, maybe a new beginning. All right, with somebody else. And that's all I think I've got for you. I can't cover every little thing that happens here. Those are the big things. All right, Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. It is a sky that has Pluto in your marriage house. Ask any Capricorn how that went. You could honor secrets about your partner. You may discover things you didn't know, or they may reveal them to you. This is true this year. This was true a little bit last year and a little bit the year before, but now it's really, really true. So I'm with a guy that I swear really has a CIA background, but anyway, good luck prying that out of him. And so, but it could be the year in which I find out. Oh, I'm not even Leo, so it doesn't really matter, but I'm giving you a good example of what this is like, right? I have Pluto in my first house and I'll pry it out of them. But this is secrets revealed and divulgences of things that were hidden under the surface of your marriage, whether it's your partner's secrets between you, things that you didn't know, about the situation of the relationship itself. And you married somebody and found out they had another marriage partner and they're double married or something. This kind of stuff could happen. Oh, If you're looking for new love in 25, you're going to attract Plutonian people. Now, they could be wealthy and powerful, but they can also be narcissistic and controlling. So be careful. Really scrutinize the types of people that you're drawing in. Pluto here, if you're in a relationship that's already not working for you, will end it. If you are Leo, sun, moon, and rising closer to the first 5 degrees of Leo. Now, he'll try to end it if it's not right for you. Okay. You will have some Juno action in the romance house here, indicating the possibility that you could come into a long-term relationship through romantic dating and really want to solidify what is a dating scene and romantic love and, not fully committed into a commitment. And I'm going to write those dates down for you right now. And in order to do that, I'm going to stop the share and just write the dates down. All right. Am I recording? I am recording. Says I'm recording. Let's pray I'm recording. All right, back to you guys. And I was finishing up with the Juno narrative, and I'm going to put us back to the now clock right now. There we go. And I was talking about Leo. And the reason I was checking Juno, just wanted to see how long she was going to hang out in that Scorpio sky so that I can make some statements for you as well. So just so you know, Juno will be back into your house of romantic love. So she's there. Juno is in your house of romantic love on February the 20th to April the 15th. February 20th to April the 15th for Leos could indicate a window of time where you begin to date somebody and it becomes a very significant relationship relatively quickly. Then she will leave for Scorpio because of a retrogradation, and she will return to the sign of your house of long-term, of romantic, sexy, fun, dating love. She'll return there on October the 1st through the end of 25. So this fall, October, November, December, coming up at the end of the year, as well as I said, third week of February to the middle of April, can indicate that dating somebody in this window of time can lead to commitment in a very short time frame. So those are dating advice bits for single Leo people. It means other things. Of course, your 5th house is your children. Maybe you're making agreements with them, but we're talking love. So we're going to keep it very, very simple. It's all about the love stories. And Venus is doing a lot of energetic hangout in your 8th house. And, I've seen this with my clients. It doesn't matter that she's exalted here. Often secret love affairs occur when Venus gets all mucked up in the 8th house. And if you are looking to get involved as being a mistress or being the third wheel in a relationship, being the other person in someone else's marriage, or your marriage partner, him or herself, goes in that direction, that's always a risk with Venus in a normal transit through the 8th house. But this is not a normal transit. This is her here for an incredibly long time because of retrogradation. And so it kind of puts an energetic field of stuff in the first half of 2025 in play that could remind you of 2017, right? Going back to 2017 and the first half of that year. Did you have any blowouts regarding secret love affairs? And involving you and a partner or your partner and someone else? And that kind of stuff can also be okay. I mean, in France, mistresses are fine, right? Everyone has a cultural norm. So don't always think of it. I'm not judging anyone, but secret love affairs that are destined and fated, right? North Node is here, unlike in 2017. Secret love affairs that are destined and fated in your life or your partner's life could be one of the weird stories going on in this year. And if it's true, I think a lot of evidence for that would be more available for you to notice or see in the first 6 months of 2025. All right, that's my take on that. Now we're talking to Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, first of all, the goddess of marriage and love is hanging out in your 7th house. I'm not going to give you all the dates. It doesn't matter. Because of retrogradation, she's kind of here forever and ever. I mean, let's just say the first half of 2025, you have Venus in and out of your 7th house, exalting your long-term relationship house, Virgo. And on the surface of it, this is always going to feel good because Venus is the goddess of higher love, truer love, deeper love, soulful love, sacred love, in the house of committed love. And this could also just be a signal that you find your partner even more attractive than you ever have, or that the love is flowing more beautifully in the relationship itself. But there's this condition where Venus is getting besieged a little bit, or enclosed between Rahu, the North Node, and Saturn. And so you might want to be a little more cautious in love relationship stories. This is where things could be good, but not great, or constrained with you and your long-term commitment partner if you're in a relationship. This is really not about dating. And that constraint might be felt by you around February the 20th to January the 20th to February the 1st. The first 7 days of April, and yet again, once more around the 24th of April. Those are the 3 windows of time where she is between a rock and a hard place, or between Saturn, the wall, and North Node, the tidal wave. And the North Node here, for any of you who are in an existing relationship, entering into your 7th house, the North Node did on January 12th, and will continue to move here for the next 18 months, is most times an increasing focus on expanding the relationship. For example, a lot of couples, I always use the analogy of the relationship is root bound. You need a bigger pot to grow it in. A bigger pot is our following things: setting a wedding date, getting married, moving in together, having a child together. The terms of the relationship are experiencing growth and expansion in a destined way. Very few people break up during this transit. It's usually a south node through the 7th house. But if that relationship cannot move into a bigger pot to encompass more terrain, more depth, more meaning, more purpose, then it will break up. But my clients, in my client readings, with my clients over the years, I see it usually people move to the occasion of increasing the range of the relationship, the expansion, the volume up. So, if you're in a relationship, you might move in together. You might get married. You might have a baby. These are things that happen when the North Node moves through every 18 years, the 7th house. So you had the North Node of date, destiny, and fate moving through this part of your chart back in 2006, 7, and 8, and in the very tail end of 87, 88, 89. So you've been through or 88, 89, 90. You've been through this before. So this, you might want to compare to things that were going on in long-term committed love stories then. It's never the same way twice. Never. And this is particularly rare, hundreds of years rare, or at least the 1800s rare, because we also have the North Node. It goes back to the 1800s. We have the North Node moving through your marriage house. Well, this year, Jupiter starting in June the 9th, add 12 months, exalts your Cancer 11th house. Now, this can definitely elevate the relationship, and it elevates it in so many ways, like dreams come true, hopes and wishes for what you want this relationship to look like. If you're single, destined, fated, new soulmate love stories of a higher love and an enduring love coming your way in 2025, and the connection with Jupiter exaltation this June could indicate things like celebrations with groups of people, like a wedding celebration or a wedding party or a ceremony or something. Jupiter exalting your 11th house could expand your social life and groups of friends in concert with the elevation or the volume up in a long-term committed love. But all said and done, it brings a huge amount of success as Jupiter does trine or flow to the house of committed love in 2025. And indeed, there's an interesting window of time. And that's going to be between April the 15th and October the 1st, okay? April the 15th and October the 1st. Juno, the goddess of commitment, will trine your marriage house. Well, Jupiter trines the goddess of commitment. All said and done, there's something going on with a higher level of more formal commitment of some sort, contractual agreements about what this relationship means, including legal marriages potentially, elevating for some of you, Virgos, again, April 15th to October the 1st. I'm really going to add the most important window of time to make it even more precise is June the 9th to October 1st. Proposals, moving in together, getting pregnant, because you're going to make the relationship more solid, especially June the 9th to October the 1st. Now, that is for people in a relationship. What about single Virgos? Well, as I mentioned, just having the North Node moving through the 7th house can bring partners of destiny into your life. And some of those will be new friends, but some of them may be new people, person, dating, your person could show up. So that's one thing that is true here. And Also, in 2026, Mars will become visible in your seventh house of marriage. And that could also indicate, again, into the first half of 2026, the potential for legal wedding and wedding celebrations. Now, if you have been single and you've been looking for a relationship, then Mars became visible in the sky at the end of January 2024 and through to January of 2026. So still all of 2025, you still have an activation of the house of romantic and sexual love and dating love, your fifth house. And in this regard, there is something that's exalted here, exalted passion, exalted romance, exalted love. And that could mean that you're still in a sort of under the Martian spell for a new long-term love relationship that has a great deal of excitement, passion, sexiness to it. As well, for those of you who are of childbearing age, Mars may require a major decision in your life regarding children and pregnancy and fertility. And that decision making with Mars is always keep the child or not. I'm sorry, I know some of you have thoughts about that, pro-life and stuff. I know, I'm just telling you the sky. And so Mars is like, the guy that says, well, do we want to change our mind about this? Do we want to, do the medical procedures not to have a baby? And so if you're looking to have a child, and that's as a Virgo, you or your partner, doesn't matter who you are, man or woman, and you're thinking about getting pregnant, that's fine. But if you accidentally get pregnant or you're not expecting to be pregnant, and that's very possible with the algal Uranus shocking energies, up in the ninth house of childbirth and grandchildren, you're in a year for unexpected pregnancy that deepens the relationship, right? That's how a relationship gets much more serious because now there's a baby on the way. So I'm warning all Virgos of childbearing age, you or your partner, whoever or whatever, to be cautious for an accidental pregnancy that then forces a relationship into a commitment. Although even when a pregnancy is unexpected, it might still be welcome. Okay, but you'll still need to make exalted decisions about the relationship regarding pregnancy and all of that for some of you. That's a possibility. Also, Virgo, what else do I want to say before we move on? Everybody has eclipses, like you all have eclipses in your marriage house, which again just means changes in your marriage house. That's why the North Node is there. But I'm going to give you a heads up of timing in which those connections to a committed love partner could go through a significant change already. So it's going to be when you have those eclipses mostly in the seventh house. And maybe your partner's going through change and it's not even impacting your relationship. But you had an eclipse here on September 18th of 2024 in your marriage house at 25 Pisces. So that's going to influence a lot of the Virgo sun, moon, and rising closer to 25 degrees. Then you will have an eclipse here coming through on September the 7th at 15 Pisces, indicating if your sun, moon, or rising is close to 15 within 5 degrees of either side, it influences your marriage partner or the marriage itself more significantly. And so the last eclipse here is August 28th of 2026, but it's a very tenuous out of sign with the nodes eclipse. So just know, though, that you have ripples of change. And at 5 degrees of Pisces in 2026, it's going to impact Virgo, sun, moon, and rising closer to the first 10 degrees. So major changes in the status of long-term love relationships in this order, okay? September 2024. Okay, September 2024. Okay, you guys had a lunar eclipse there, anyone with 25 degrees of Pisces. So 20 to 29 Pisces, major changes and volume up in the status of your long-term love. Second wave of people, September 7th eclipse, 2025, 15 Pisces. That's, again, a lunar eclipse. Add 6 months, major changes in the status of your relationship. And I'd say, 10 to 20 degrees of Pisces, Virgo, sun, moon, and rising really feel the wave of change. And then, of course, August 28th, 2026, indicating at 5 Pisces, anyone 0 to 10 degrees of Virgo will feel the waves of change. And those are the times where the relationship means we're getting engaged, we're getting married, we're moving in, or it's under turbulence, right? Because the challenge is to grow a bigger pot for the root-bound relationship. And I think I didn't make my screen all the way big for you guys. So let me fix it. All right, moving on to the next sign. 2025 for Libras, ruled by Venus, the goddess of love herself. What's going on? Tell me, Libras, why have you felt wounded in long-term committed love, business partners, clients, and audience? But let's just talk committed love, right? Being married, having a long-term partnership, being committed to someone over time. Because Chiron began to show you where you have a wound in regards to this kind of relationship story back in 2019. He finally leaves in 2027, the seventh house of marriage. Now, he has gone through a big healing himself. Well, he was bundled into the eclipse of April the 8th, 2024. And he was eclipsed by the eclipse. So I think that's the end of that wound. And now you're moving forward with the wound healed. So if you're single, that means you can now invite new love stories in from a place of wholeness. And if you're with somebody, it means you can now engage that relationship without the wound being dug in. And sometimes it means you might have attracted wounded partners with lots of issues and you had to be the overfunctioner for your wounded bird partner, but that has been healing. So you attract a partner with a health challenge or an addiction issue or something, and you're always having to take care of them. And that may be a trend that's coming to a complete close now because of the sky and what it's telling us. So that's the first story for you. And you also went through that eclipse cycle, Libra, where you went through south node eclipses in the sign of you and north node eclipses in your seventh house of committed love. And your relationship needed a bigger pot to grow in. That's coming to an end already. That was the main driver of relationship stories in 23 and 24. And you are trying to expand and volume up in the way you connect to a long-term committed love story. Or if you're single, you may be able to and still be able to meet new love partners under this energy. Because, well, the nodes of fate have shifted on January 12th out of the Aries sky. There's still an eclipse here on March the 29th. And that around 9 degrees of Aries eclipse, rounds up to 9, indicates a one last gasp for single Aries to find new love. And of course, Aries, sun, moon, and rising, sure, closer to 9 degrees of your sign, Libra, sun, moon, and rising, close to 9 degrees. You might feel it more intensely, but I'm just going to say it's hitting the seventh house. And it's going to make changes in your existing relationship. For example, it doesn't have to be a bad change. It's a solar eclipse, and it could indicate, some kind of portal to some new change, new way this relationship wants to unfold. It could lead to the relationship becoming more serious, more connected, maybe marriage, engagement, proposal stuff. It may also indicate another level to expand that relationship. And if you're single, it's still about that same vibe. Can you bring in a destined new love story? Now, listen here, single Libras, or Libras looking for love who still haven't found it, or maybe getting out of an old relationship and waiting for the new one because of those eclipses. The north node's in your work house or your pet's house. Walking the pet through the neighborhood, anyone? Or going to pick a pet out at the pet place equals bumping into your new partner of destiny, or the work house. The work and office space could lead to, or the livelihood, like, it doesn't have to be like some of you do your own, you don't have to meet them in the office, like it's your career path, your work path, and a likelihood of meeting a partner of destiny through the work you do in this world. It could even be a client and you guys end up in a relationship, or a customer, or somebody you meet in the capacity of doing the work you do. And so if you are a single person still looking, I would say that March 29th eclipse up to 6 weeks before and a year after is a portal to a new love relationship. And I do want to say, with Venus, the goddess of love and marriage in general, some of her portfolio in your work house through the first half of this year, because of retrogradation through to, June, you're likely, because she kept coming in and out of the workhouse, there is again a story. Are you going to meet somebody? Are you going to find your person through the work environment? And what about also the Venus star point on March 22nd at 2 degrees of Aries, giving you a red carpet rollout till the end of 2025, indicating a fresh blossoming of new love and long-term committed love, business and relationships. Now, if you go back to 2021, if you go back to 2017, both of those times unfolded the same narrative, a star point that should blossom out a red carpet rollout for committed long-term love stories. For example, I know a Libra for whom this meant that the girlfriend he was living with, they had a choice to continue together by renting a new house in another province or not. And they did. They leveled up in 21 after the star point and moved into their new place together in another city because it was a college romance based on university days. And then they committed upwards, right? And that's because the star point happened in March of 21. That's my daughter and her guy. And he's a Libra. And the star point happened in 2017 March. This is a little bit more like what was going on in long-term committed love for you in the spring, in the first half of 2017. But it's also similar to 2021. And here we are again. And what makes this very different, though, to me, is the chironic wound that has been healed here. Okay, that's giving a whole different flavor. And the addition of the North Node traveling through your seventh house as you came into this year. So there's a qualitative difference that you did not see in any of the other times I just told you about. 2017, 21, first half of the year, making it quite different. Or the March of 17, add 10 months. March of 21, add 10 months. Okay, that's the rollout windows there. And we're back again. Star point, Venus, 2 degrees of Aries, maybe affecting you early degrees, 0 to 5 degree Libras more effectively. But I do think it affects all of you individually. I mean, doesn't have to be that. Pluto is in your sex and romance house. Holy moly, 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 moly. Well, first of all, you need your sex life to get deep, 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 deep under the surface. You know, nothing superficial here. How about some deep tantra? How about some sex magic? How about deep vulnerability? How about deep revelations and honesty? How about a, force to be reckoned with in love and romantic love, especially sex as well. So there's a new energy field here. It's something you haven't had before. You're going to get it for the next 20 years. You had dips in and out, right? March to June of 23, January to September 1st of 24, November 19th of 24, and now 20 years. So you've been flirting with this kind of uncompromising intensity in the marriage house, in the sex and romance house. And I don't know what to say about it because it's really something that is so transpersonal, but it could indicate looking for romantic love partners who share a deep, deep connection to their muse or creativity, their inspiration, who want to have a romantic connection based on things that are deeper than shallow and surface attractions, metrics that are much deeper than that. That's what I'm going to say about that. That feels true. Anything else I need to tell you? No, I think that's everything. Hopefully that's going to be useful, and hopefully that helps you in your love stories in 2025. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. So a couple of things. Since 2018, Uranus entered your seventh house of marriage, and it could have meant that there's been a lot of instability in long-term committed love, or a lot of unexpected change, or you've dated people that are completely different, or got down with long-term commitments with, fringers, people that aren't your people, usually a very different kind of the people you got involved with are very different. But Uranus is shock and awe and destabilization, and for Scorpio, when he got here and he flirted here in, May of 18 to October, then came back full time in February of 2019, one of my Scorpio girlfriends, that's like, oh my God, her husband, 20 years, just said, I'm done. I'm having an affair with the barn staff or something. I don't know, but you know what I mean? So, eruptive tower lightning bolts of change. Some of you might have gone polyamorous, experimented with marriage sabbaticals, gave each other unprecedented hyper independence and freedom in the relationship, and taken timeouts and come back together, sabbaticals. So these are the kind of things I've seen in my clients' charts who are Scorpio rising, especially sun and moon secondarily, in their long-term committed love stories. But this energy is kind of waning, right? It's coming off of the intensity for you. And unless you are a Scorpio rising or sun around 20 to 26 degrees of Taurus, where we had a Mars-Uranus conjunction in July. For you guys, the next 2 years, July of 24 to July of 26 can be very unexpected, surprising developments in your long-term committed love. That includes pregnancy. Okay. That includes your female partner saying, I'm pregnant. What also I see here is that the energy, and don't forget, Uranus leaves that marriage house where all that destabilization is happening this July. I think it's July the 8th to no, July the 5th to November 8th or something like that. But it's July through to November. And that's going to take some of the erratic pressure off you this year. And by the time we get to the summer of 2026, it's done for good in this lifetime, right? It's over. No more sort of electric shock currents in your relationship. But the pregnancy thing is a very real possibility in the first half of this year. Venus is sperm and ovum, as well as, love and beauty. And she's in your 5th house of making babies. And she's going to come in and out, in and out. She's besieged, which means that if you want to try to get pregnant, it may be, or she's enclosed between malefics. It might not be the easiest time. You might have a failure to conceive or a failure for the, first term pregnancy for a woman to hold that. But don't worry. I mean, there's just small windows of attention here. The 20th of January to February 2nd, the first 7 days of April, and April 24th. These are when she's enclosed between the North Node tidal wave of possibility and Saturn constraint and realism. So otherwise, I like this for you youngins wanting to make babies. And so this is going to be like babies, unexpected and surprising, maybe Uranus. You didn't think you were going to try yet and accidentally got pregnant, but you wanted to try anyway. So happy surprises around fertility, pregnancy, and baby making and conception. Look like you're in the mix here for a lot of you guys in 2025 who are thinking along these lines. Now, one of the other elements going on here is if you're single, Venus can bring exalted, higher destined love. For single Scorpios, I don't care how old you are, the North Node is doing its once every, 18-year transit through your house of romance. And you experienced this 2006 to 2008. And you experienced this back in 87, 88, 89, 90. I think it was 88, 89, 90. So it's not totally brand new. And this energy of these eclipses indicate destined, fated, soulmate, romantic love. That's what it means. And so if you're looking for people, if you are people who are looking to meet your partner, this is an ideal time to go date. And this is really just saying date until the middle of the year, right? Venus is kind of retrograde, back in and out, in and out. I don't think she's done here until the end of May. Let me take a look, because my brain, I don't have my big year ahead notes here, but my memory serves me in and out, retrograde. And it's just the fact you spend so much darn time here. Now, I'm going to say something about this in a minute also, but give me a minute. All right. She's in and out. She's just a busy little one here. Okay, so let me see. And the reason I keep saying the first half of the year, because it's a double down story to do with the Venus star point, because all of this Pisces water gets pulled into the red carpet roll up from Venus. So I'll get to that in a minute. I'll explain that to you in a sec. Yeah, like coming off of that. So here's what I'd say to you. Kind of like, May 1st. Okay, so the first half of the year. So the first half of the year, let me get back to your sign, is ideal for conception, but also for dating and romantic new love, finding a new love partner. So don't be afraid of going out on the dating scene. Don't be afraid of taking a chance on love, because with the North Node, exalted Venus and Saturn, triple conjunction energy, seriously very, very rare, not in your lifetime, not to happen again in your lifetime, indicating incredible power around meeting a true soulmate. This is your twin flame. Neptune is there. Neptune makes it very twin flame-ish, very soulmatey, right? So go on dates and have fun. If you're already with somebody, again, pregnancy, making the love story a little more spiritual, a little bit more pleasurable, giving your sex life a little more spiritual, higher love. For all of you Scorpios in an existing love story, go listen to Sacred Love by Sting. Okay, that's your song for the first half of this year. Juno, the goddess of commitment. Do I want to stay or do I want to go? Is this for me? That's your question mark. Virgos went through that for quite a while. Now it's your turn. So Juno's in and out of here like November through to February 20th in your existing relationship, deepening the commitment or asking yourself if you want to stay. And then again, on April 15th to October 1st, Juno's retrogrades back into your Scorpio sky. So there's a lot of focus on commitments here. You're looking at the marriage house in particular and asking, is it a good idea to commit? Do I want to say yes to my marriage proposal? Do I want to ask for a divorce? Is this the right relationship for me? Especially for your existing long-term love. When every time Juno goes through the first house, you assess the relationship through the eyes of staying or going, yes or no. But it's a time to just know that that could be a yes, right? So your window of thinking along these lines, November of 24 to February 20th of 2020. Did I get that right? Yes, February 20th. And then April 15th, October 1st. Yeah. All right. So that's when you're really assessing the relationship you're in or the dating scene that you're on and whether or not this is somebody you want to commit to. So the marriage partner is being scrutinized by you and what you want to do or not do. But also if you're dating someone, you're thinking, is this committable or not? Because you're looking for commitment. You're not dating for shallow. You're dating for commitment. This is not a Tinder swipe here. This is like if you're going on dates with that exalted Venus story, especially in the first half of the year, especially between April the 15th and about May the 1st, you're like kind of a perfect storm of going on a date and finding yourself wanting to commit to that person. But it's a theme that kind of pervades the entirety of 2025. All right, moving on to the next sign. Oh, and Venus is your marriage, the Lord of your marriage house, right? She rules your marriage house. And so she's not going to have you exalted dating for no good reason. All of this dating is going to push you into a higher love and getting married or getting pregnant and needing to get married or something like that. Shotgun wedding, anyone? All right. Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising. First things first. Juno, the goddess, I'm really starting with Juno. Juno, the goddess of marriage and divorce, is going to flirt with you this year. You're going to feel her energies February the 20th through April 15th in the Sagittarius part of your sky. So near your sun, moon, or rising. And then she'll be back again October 1st throughout to the end of 25. What does this mean? It means you may be considering getting married, proposing to somebody, engaging in a higher level of commitment to some existing relationship or romantic dating situation. Okay. On the other hand, you could equally be thinking about getting out of the marriage or relationship and quitting it, either one. And so you're looking at the love story here through the eyes of, am I working on this too hard? Is this too much work? Is it worth sticking in? That's the negative side of Juno, the long-suffering wife of Zeus. So keep in mind that your scrutiny on the relationship between February 20th and April 15th, and then October 1st to the end of 25 is very important. And you're really going to have windows of time where you might just make the decision to end the relationship. Now, with Jupiter in your 7th house last year, end of May last year, through to June 9th of 2025, this is an equally difficult transit if the relationship is struggling, because Jupiter will bring blessed endings. And he's been retrograde since October 9th, pulling back his drawstring, but he's going to arrow forward with that energy of yes or no as well when he goes direct on February 4th. So if this relationship has been troubled, then February 4th through to June 9th, there's this strong activation of ending or quitting. Now, if you're single, Jupiter here often brings in a new partner, and it brings bounty, generosity, wealth, and goodness into your love relationship that can up-level it. But if you're single, it can bring the one for you into the storyline. And so you single Sagittarius, if you haven't met your person yet, because Jupiter's been here since the 3rd week of May of 2024, he's still here until June the 9th. So don't give up yet. With his retrograde October 9th to February 4th, former spouses and long-term committed partners from your past might have made a entry point into your life again, maybe some healing, some resolution of loose ends. And even if they didn't, you might have been working on it within yourself to resolve the disappointments or losses in long-term love. And then when February 4th, Jupiter goes direct, then things up level. So, and it could even be like literally, like we're going to get married, we're going to get engaged, we're going to move in together. Existing relationships can thrive on a new level of success during this transit. So that's a once every 12-year transit. You last had it 2013 summer to 14 summer. If you want to make comparisons, what was happening in June of 13 to June of 14. And that might give you, is that right? No, June of 12 to June of 13. What was happening in June of 2012 to June of 2013 kind of time frame. And this is a similar May of 13 to May of 14, something like that. I mean, 12 to 13. This is like that time frame all over again, returning to you. In the way you handle long-term committed love. Some of you may have separated or divorced from somebody in 2012 and 13. You might have to go back and remember, or you may have gotten into a relationship that became more serious, like getting married. It's so funny. My Sagittarius former husband, Sag son, got married to me in Scotland in that the last time Jupiter went through his 7th house. Okay. So this stuff does work. Another story for you is there's a Venus star point in the house of romantic dating, sex, and love. It is a very strong place for beginning a new relationship and finding somebody new. And this opens up as a door of possibility for you, March the 22nd. On March the 22nd, Venus will enter the heart of the sun in your 5th house of romantic love. And over the 10 months that follow, or till the end of 2025, there is kind of a red carpet rollout for new love stories. And if you want to find somebody, don't hesitate to date. Go for it. But wait till she's in direct motion. She is retrograde until the middle of April. And to start a new relationship under a retrogradation may not be the best choice. So I'd say, just to be really safe, like move it into May. May through to the end of the year, go on dating apps, meet people, have fun, see what happens. And if you want to compare it, the Venus star point here happened in like March of 2017 from a retrogradation, and it may feel very similar to you, to what was happening in March of 2017 through to the end of that year. Did you meet somebody, or did you do something that put you into contact with a new love story? You may have. And how did that go? Like, what was that about? And then again in 2021, she's star pointed here as well. But this is a lot more like the 2017 energy signature, just so you know. So it compares more directly to that cycle. And in fact, if you began a new relationship sometime in 2017 or early into 2018, it's going to bookend that relationship. So sometimes that means that relationship could close down, or it could renew on different terms. Okay. And funny enough, my Sagittarius ex-husband started his new relationship with his current wife in that cycle of 2017, early 18. So, it's like these things are very accurate. I hope you guys are relating. Now, of course, some of you have been married for 30 years and nothing changed, but something can change within the way you relate romantically or sexually. Some of you may have gone celibate or took sex sabbaticals or renewed the romance in these, windows of time in the past that I've talked about. All right. It is a fertility transit, but that's a whole other story. But if you want to make a baby, maybe the next 10 months, March, add 10 months, she's star pointed, goddess of fertility in the house of children, but it also could mean grandchildren. And so as a Sagittarius, you may also become a grandparent, and you may have become a grandparent before when this happened. Go back and look at what happened and the other star points I mentioned, but this could also induce grandparenthood for you in the 10 months that follows. If you're going to find a new love relationship born of this narrative, the North Node Rahu is intertwined with Venus because she keeps moving in and out of your 4th house, retrograde back and forth. There's a lot of 4th house, 5th house stuff to do with romantic love. One thing I would say is that traveling to foreign lands, North Node Rahu in the house of home and homeland, but representing foreign or distant places or the foreigner, it can mean changes in a relationship with someone from a foreign country to the one that you're in. Endings and beginnings are possible. Or that if you're single, finding a new person in a foreign land, or from a foreign land, or from a different homeland than the one in which you were born. Okay, so single people may be looking to find somebody from another country, or you may just bump into them. That doesn't mean you're looking for them, but you may find love with a foreigner, basically. From the country in which you were born. Okay. Do I have anything else to say? Mercury is the ruler of your committed love house, and Mars rules your romance house. With Mars spending 2 months, mid-April to mid-June in your ninth house, if you're wanting to date or meet somebody, go on adventures in far off foreign shores and lands, or enroll in an academic setting, because you may meet somebody for high romance because you're studying in an academic setting, you're off to the ashram, you're on a pilgrimage, or you're traveling foreign countries. Again, mid-April to mid-June, good for new relationships and meeting somebody in that window of time for Sagittarius. So invite yourself to travel, to study, to learn, and maybe mid-April to mid-June, you'll meet your person. And, when it comes to the commitment levels and all of that, I mean, Mercury is right with that being a star point in and out of that fifth house. And so this is also going to bring in a relationship that require a lot of communication, like a lot of I don't know how to say that. Emails, phone calls, and text messages. Maybe there is a geographical situation for some of you. All right, that's what I got for you. I'm going to keep moving. Oh, and then Juno. Yeah, I started with Juno. You're looking across the way. Should I stay or should I go? Or is this person I'm dating the person for me? Go back and listen to the beginning of your sign. I covered that information for you. Now, Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign. This is a sky that opens up the love stories in your chart. What's going on for you in 2025? Well, first of all, you've had a lot of shaking up and baking up in your fifth house of sexual dating and romantic love. When I see the Uranus going through people's fifth house in my client base, they do all kinds of weird stuff. Like they join red Tantra communities. They get into polyamory. They investigate BDSM. They go way outside the normative of what their comfort zone is, their traditional stage, stuck Taurus comfort zone in sex and romance. And they kind of blast off into adventures and unusual outside the box types of sex and love. That's what happens. So, and it's been happening since 2018, but then full on since February 2019 that this kind of stuff has happened. I know when Kappa got totally into sex hotels with a woman for a while and did a little Dom sub work, and I mean, never went back to it. But, and then another Cap who got into a huge Tantra community relationship during this transit and had never done something like that ever before. So you're getting the gist of it, right? Breaking outside the mold in your sex and love and romance. Now, it's also destabilizing. And then it can mean a lot of love relationships flared on and off, like in and out, shocking, sudden endings, surprising endings, instability in dating and love and romance storylines. And that's going to end up fully done, complete, out of here in 2026. Uranus stops destabilizing that stuff for you. So hang in there. Now, that's a backdrop story that I just had to bring to your attention, which is what I just did, obviously. There's energy going on in your seventh house, right? Which is your marriage house, which is critical. That's coming to an end and something good is trying to happen. Let me go back and explain. Your Cancer, long-term committed love, marriage type house. Oh, and I want to add one more thing. If you don't think you're going to be a grandparent, you still have Uranus shock and awe here for a couple of years, and you could be unexpectedly becoming a grandparent with a destined grandchild that's a soulmate for you. South Node in the house of grandchildren. Uranus got kicked off by a Mars-Uranus conjunction the last 2 years. So soulmate, past life, grandchildren popping into your life in the next year. Very strong possibility to your children. But the next part of it is that we ended an eclipse cycle in which the South Node moved through the 10th house and North Node was moving through the 4th house. And that kept squaring your marriage house. Both of them, you're getting double-ended. And it indicates destined change in long-term committed love or turbulence. So the energy of the nodes have laid off. North and South Node have left behind squaring your marriage house on January 12th, and indeed begin to shift their relationship to the marriage house to a flow rather than a hardship. So if you've been in a kind of turbulent window and 23, 24 in some ways with relationship that's committed and long-term, some of that edge is gone now, right? Now it smooths over in 25 and things are much easier in 2025. But there's still one eclipse that could jar your long-term love story. And it would have to do with home and real estate and land and where you live. It either can indicate the March 29th eclipse in Aries that you and your significant other may move your home, maybe to a different neighborhood, maybe to another part of the city, maybe to another part of your state. But there is a maybe suggestion here with a North Node in your third house of a relocation of your where you live with your significant other. Okay, that's what I'm going to tell you. And that could be a big deal. March 29th eclipse. Give it about a month, 6 weeks to a month before March the 29th. Give it up to a year later. It's solar eclipse. And it's in that fourth house and it is squaring your marriage house. And it might impact some of you Capricorns in the first, like, I don't know, let's say 5 to 15 degrees, a little bit more intensely Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising placements. But it is nonetheless going to feel like for all of you, this is the tail end of a cycle of eclipse energy that was going through your sky, 23, 24, 25. And, the last one is 25. And it's kind of rerouting your long-term committed love in destined and fated ways. That's all it means, destined and fated ways to reroute long-term committed love stories. So don't be afraid of this. It's just shift. And it looks like home shift, homeland shift of your home somehow with a significant other. Or shifts about the way you do love in the home. There's a Venus star point for you, Capricorns, in your house of home, property, land, and real estate. And that's a new beginning. It could last 10 months. Did you change your home anytime in 2017 into 2018? Let's give it a year to be safe. March of 17 to March of 18, did you change your home? Did you change your home in any significant way in 2021, March add a year to 22? I bet you did. And so here we go again, change of home. In this case, it's more tightly connected because of the eclipse cycle to change of home connected to long-term partnership. The reason for the home change is because of a connection in a long-term relationship. Then you can still change your home. And it could be that if you're single, Capricorns, by changing your home, you meet a new person who becomes the committed, destined partner for you. So that's the other way to read that. And there is this feeling with Jupiter moving into your marriage house, which is a big deal, which last happened in June of 13 to June of 2014. He exalts your seventh house of long-term committed love and marriage. So those relationships that have yet to reach the point of marriage, maybe you're living together, common law, maybe extensive monogamous dating, whatever, Jupiter always upgrades you. It's like, first class, ma'am? Yep, put me on first class relationship. So it is time. First of all, your partner will be lucky and thriving and prosperous because there's collateral benefits for your partner. But the person you're with and you will look at things like, well, enough dating, let's move in together. Enough moving in together, let's get engaged. Enough being engaged, let's get married. These themes will increase the relationship commitment level significantly as Jupiter enters here on June the 9th of 2025 into your marriage house and stays there until 2026, end of June. Also helping Jupiter is the North Node in the third house of travel. But that North Node in the third house of travel is connected to the eclipse and the change of home. So a vast majority of Capricorns in relationships that have yet committed to a cohab will be cohabbing full time. It could include the purchase of real estate as well. Mars is the ruler of your fourth house, and it'll be in the house of mortgages and banking, and allows for maybe a mid-April to mid-June purchase of a home with a significant other, for example, or move of home, change of neighborhood, change of city in the state. These are not like, I don't think this is like we're going to buy a place in Siberia, right? This is like more domestic changes closer to home. And that's what I've got for you. Hopefully that's going to be of some use. All right, almost done. Aquarius, love in 2025. What is going on? Whoa. Well, first of all, let's just start off with the fact that a rare, not seen since 1977-78 version of Mars in your marriage house has been happening here. I wasn't married in 77-78. I was in high school, I guess. How old would I have been? 16, 17? I can't remember if that was the boyfriend that I really liked at the end of high school, or that was somebody else. Was I 17 when I met him? I think I was. But this started in 76, and then so I was 16 into 17. No, it wasn't that relationship. So I didn't really have a relationship to compare to what this is like. But let's talk about it. I'm a fellow Aquarius rising and sun and moon. You can listen to. Look, this is not the easiest thing to have Mars in the house of marriage for anybody. Usually it means separation from your marriage partner, sometimes temporary, just travel, right? But sometimes it is like cutting, ending, and severing, or your marriage partner is combative and heavy-handed and gnarly. And this is usually 6 weeks every 2 years. So you get to deal with it 6 weeks every 2 years. But Mars got into the Leo part of the sky back on November the 4th and left on January 6th. Again, for me, my partner, I separated, he went back to the United States, right? I'm in Canada. He's American. We're just geographically separated for a time. But this is back again in this year, right? It's coming back. Mars will be here roughly, April 17th or so to June 18th. And this is a fragile time in a relationship. So be careful, mid-April kind of to mid-June vibe, where Mars in your marriage house, unless you're separated by geographical reasons, time apart, traveling, whatever, then this is going to look potentially like a sharp sword in the marriage house, a firebrand, a hot, sharp, flaming sword in the marriage house. You're Pluto right now. You got a lot of strength here. You can almost deal with anything, and you have a lot of dominating energy, but it is very intense, especially April 27th, when Mars will be opposite Pluto in your marriage house. If you can do a remedy around that, it would be a good idea. It would be something like April 27th, give or take a week on either side, and you could have a big blowout in an existing long-term love story. Okay. Don't start a new relationship under this, because you're going to bake in your first date with this intense, explosive combustion and brutality between you and a significant other. So stay away from starting something new mid-April to mid-June, but also that April 27th might take you back to January 3rd. Did you have any arguments or discussions that were difficult or intensity with a significant other? Because like January 2nd, 3rd is going to be like the third week of April, particularly April 26th, 27th. So just be aware of the turbulent energies here at that time. Now, that aside, what else can I tell you? First of all, Jupiter has been in your sex house and romance house, right? Your fifth house ever since the third week of May 2024, and leaves on June the 9th. And it's good for increasing fertility and pregnancy and many other things, but also for just germinating expansive, jubilant, joyful fun and play and pleasure in a long-term committed, in the long-term committed love. It can expand the relationship sexual pleasures, but in a dating scenario, it could just mean you struck the lottery, right? You got the lucky in love going on here. You met your person. It's been amazing. You're having fun. The dating is swell. The sex is great. You're having a joyful time. So if you haven't met somebody yet and you're single, well, then this is still playing out till June the 9th. Jupiter goes direct, and that's what you want to see on February 4th, and brings momentum and dating. When he was retrograde October the 9th, and he will be there till February 4th retrograde, former romantic love partners who weren't marriages most often come back out of the woodwork. I heard from like 4 ex-boyfriends since October 9th. Really weird, but it's true. But it's in all good ways. Jupiter brings reunion for positive depth, wisdom, and understanding. Now, the other thing is that Jupiter here is going to be in a relationship to the North Node in January 12th to the 9th of June. There is a broad square between Jupiter and the node of fate. And there can be some crises or conflicts in an existing dating love relationship, which you haven't married or made full-time commitment habits, like you don't live together, regarding financial matters. So be really like, whose money is whose, who gets what belongs to who. So be careful, January through to June, particularly February 4th to the June 9th, about having blowups in a love relationship over finances, particularly who gets what, or whose is whose, or possessions, right? Like, that's my sofa, I'm taking it, I just lent you the painting, but I want it back, weird stuff like that. Obviously, that sounds like a difficult time, and indeed it may be. When Jupiter enters your sixth house, that's the house that precedes commitment, right? And so sometimes Jupiter will be here June 9th out a year of 25, and you may indeed be on a extensive dating, many dates, having fun, dating a lot of people. Jupiter in the sixth house isn't I'm dating one person. I'm playing the field. I'm having fun. I'm on my game. I'm doing speed dating. So for some of you, I'm encouraging you, you can go through that because then Jupiter will move into Leo, right? In the summer of 26, and that relationship that you find through your abundance of dating, you'll finally find somebody that's worthy, that you catch a fish, you keep it. Then the year after, Jupiter moves in your seventh house, June of 2000, well, just say July 1st of 2026 out a year, and that becomes committed. That becomes living together. That becomes engaged and all of that. So it's not a bad idea for Aquarius if you're single, if you want to start dating June the 9th onward and having abundance of fun and dating for fun. Don't take it too seriously. You might land the big fish in a year of flirty fun and dating. The sun is the ruler of your marriage house. The sun is joining with Pluto once a year for the next 20 years. This means as an Aquarius, you're never going to ever look again, ever again, at long-term committed love relationships the same way. Because Pluto fusing with the ruler of your committed love house has a whole different vibration. So every time the sun joins with Pluto in the house of you, right, once a year, the way you perceive commitment and long-term love is a very different kettle of fish. It's kind of like trying to align your soul and your power and your potency and your intensity and your uncompromising desire for being real into a long-term committed love relationship in ways that you've never been able to do before. And that's a new vibe that you feel starting on January 21st, 2025. And every single year, this gets renewed, this lease gets renewed. You might really want to think about what parts of you have been unearthed and hidden from the view of yourself that you've now uncovered. I talked in a recent video, I just discovered that I am a late diagnosed age 62 autistic spectrum disorder. I always knew I had ADHD, ADD actually, but now it's even worse. Well, not worse, it's great because I understand my life and I understand me and I understand everything about myself since I was a child that I never understood before. And now my partner understands that because I can unearth this knowledge and share it with him. And we again have a better understanding of my need for time alone to regulate myself. Okay. What else do I need you to know? Because the sun is involved in solar eclipses, right? And lunar eclipses, but it's involved in the eclipse energies, particularly solar eclipses, in which the light of the sun, the light of the ruler of your marriage house is obliterated, right, by the eclipse. It would indicate to me that in all of your life you need to pay attention to what those eclipses of the sun are doing, because it will always affect your seventh house of audience marketplace clients. But yes, long-term marriage and love eclipses are more likely to bring in new love relationships for you and end relationships for you. In this case, this year of 2025 into summer of 26, the eclipses are activating financial matters connected to long-term love. Whether that's an up level because now you join your finances together, purchase a property together, share your resources together, that's possible, right? Those are the eclipses through your eighth house, second house axes. So there's a lot about the way your marriage and relationship is dependent upon whether it's a new relationship or one that's emerging and it's committed, because we're talking about the sun is the lord of the commitment house. These eclipses, particularly in Virgo, right? It's the Virgo eclipses in March and September that are so important to the shared resources with a partner. And so I'm going to give you those dates because it may impact something about this year when it comes to your marriage. You've been married forever, or you just met someone. There's a lot of financial dynamics that the eclipses are activating for you. So let me just grab the dates again. And so I want to look at the shared resources part of the chart, where your marriage partner, you the second from the marriage house, and the solar eclipses in particular. The only one I can talk about, because we have an Aries eclipse on March 29th, is I can talk about the Virgo 28-degree eclipse on September the 21st, 2025. If memory serves me, there is Venus conjunct that eclipse in the sign of her fall in the house of shared resources with a significant marriage partner. So what I'm going to tell you then is that look out for turbulence in a longer term committed love story that's moved past the dating stage and it's now very more serious and it's your main person. Look for financial challenges or financial situations that impact the relationship. Is it good or is it bad? I don't know. It's just an eclipse with a fallen Venus and a south node of letting go. September 21st, 2025. Give it about 6 weeks before, give it about a year later. And a lot of the relationship story is financial energy dependent, and if there's a relationship ending, like you're legally married already, then this can be discord and some upset in the fall of 25, add a year, about separation of the assets within the actual relationship. Okay. That would be for those of you who are legally wed, not for just those of you who are committed in dating. And then, when you live with someone too, like who gets the sofa, the thing. All righty, let's go on to the next sign. It's Pisces time. All right, Pisces, holy man, what a year for you. Like, what a year for you. First of all, number one, South Node, January 11th, 12th, moved into your marriage house. It is one of two things. You're single and you're going to meet a soulmate love story in the next 18 months. Number two, you're in a marriage and you have to let it go, release it, surrender it, or it is surrendering itself. South Node can bring health challenges to your significant love partner, or the relationship may have a leaky part of it, like there's something going down the drain there. And it's more like your attention isn't there anymore. Like you're not focused on it, right? So don't forget, South Node, in comes a destined soulmate love story through your marriage house. That's for you singletons. Well, maybe sometimes not. Maybe you meet a significant person, you want to divorce because you met your real person. I don't know. But it's going to be a lot of destined action in the marriage house this year and into second half and all the way through 2026, really. Watch out for the eclipse here in September, a fallen Venus, South Node eclipse in the marriage house in September of 2025, up to a month before or 6 weeks before and up to a year later. If anything's going to cause a marriage to fall apart in a destined faded way, that's it. The last time you had these kinds of more relationship dangerous eclipses happened in 2006, 7, and 8 in this part of your sky, and in like 1989, 90, 90, 1988, 89, and into a little bit of 1990. So those are times of the same, either meeting your destined person or having that turbulence that could have destabilized the relationship. In fact, I do believe someone I know, a Pisces, went through a divorce at that time with her husband. That would be my youngest sister. So memory serves me, that would have been roughly the 2005, 6, 7 timeframe, I think, or she started dating the guy she's with now. I'm not too sure which. No, I think it was the divorce separation. So I'm just giving you the heads up. I'm giving you the heads up because it's back and it's every 18 and a half years. This kind of thing is happening. It's a big deal. Jupiter's moving into your sex and romance house. Woohoo! And when he gets there, if you're single or if your marriage has lost its fun and sex and play and pleasure, well, Jupiter's going to expand it and also could make you or your partner pregnant with family, bigger or larger, more kids coming your way, abundance of children. So there's that story going on too. So when Jupiter gets here on June the 9th and doesn't leave until June 30th of 2026, all systems go for luscious new romance, also for fertility and pregnancy, but also for increasing the romantic joy, fun, play, and pleasure in an existing relationship, having a kind of renewal of fun and joy and play and pleasure and sex and all of that in the relationship with the one you're with. So don't forget, if you're single, now you've got a South Node transit through the house of committed love, and you've got this like excitement in this romantic love house and the dating house. So meaning that June of 25 through to June of 26, you've got this fated destined storyline to meet the one for you. Now, Juno will move through the 10th house, and she's the divorce goddess in the house of reputation. And sometimes, and she does this every 5 years, but now you've got a South Node transit corresponding to the marriage house. And this can look like a divorce in the public eye, letting the world know the relationship is complete and finishing. The dates where she's up in your Sagittarius part of your sky on my little notes is February 20th to April 15th, and then October 1st until the end of the year. So that window of time, February 20th to April 15th, October 1st to the end of the year, could look like publicly announced separation, publicly announcing divorce proceedings in a relationship challenged by a destined ending of the South Node. I mean, it's possible too that you could announce to the world you're getting engaged and you're getting married or you're getting divorced. All of those are possible. February 20th to April 15th. And again, October 1st to the end of the year. Exalted Venus is in the first house for you for much of the first half of this year. And so up until about the beginning of May, you've got Venus coming in and out of your sign, but also getting enclosed between malefics as you look over at your marriage and romantic partnership houses. So be a little bit more careful here. You might feel trapped or constrained around your relationship to a romantic or committed love partner, and you might be feeling like you're in a rock and a hard place about what you want to do in that relationship between January 20th and February 2nd, the first 7 days of April and April 24th. Those are times where you might feel frustrated, stuck, or in some sense of hardship around the love relationship, the marriage house, that kind of thing. Your romantic life, your sex life, your pleasure and your dating life is ruled by the moon. And the moon is involved in a lot of eclipse energy this year. So you might want to pay attention to what the eclipses might suggest, because the eclipses are moving through your Pisces first house and your marriage house second house. Yeah, they flow to the romance house. In that regard, I don't mind the eclipses for romance. This is really good for the Pisces who are on the dating scene and looking for new love, because those eclipses that are happening in Pisces in particular, but also in Virgo this year, there's spring eclipses and fall eclipses. All of those eclipses can really catapult something exciting and new in your love life. And in fact, we did have an eclipse on September the 18th, 2024, that's still spilling over through to through to the fall of 2025. So you're in this wave of eclipse energy that ultimately could bring you a new romantic partnership. All right. I don't know that I have much else to tell you at this point. I think I've covered the main ingredients. And that's what we got for you. Sorry, Pisces, not a lot to say for you. I mean, the eclipses themselves are changing your relationship to a long-term committed love partner, whether it's getting more soulful or deep in 25 into 26, or it's coming to a close. And eclipses put things out of your control and out of your hands. Juno's in the house of courts, meaning divorces, judges, lawyers, settlements, right? For a bit of this year. And so when Juno's up there too, that's often, it can look like getting a lawyer, what do you call it? Delivering divorce papers to your partner, getting legal counsel around separations. And so that energy of Juno up in your ninth house of courts and stuff, that's playing out this year as well. November of 24 to February 20th of 2025. And then back again, April 15th to October 1st. And in that time, if there's a relationship you're in and you realize it's not the one for you, and you need to disentangle legally, whether you're common law or legally married, it doesn't matter. I imagine that the proceedings with legal guidance or inquiry may begin anytime before February 20th, or again, April 15th through to October 1st. Alrighty. So just some guidance for you, because not all relationships are meant to last. Just, it's life, right? It's just life. All right. So I'm done. We're done. It's over. That's your love stories in 2025. I want to do something fun. I couldn't bring myself to do the moon video at 9 degrees of Aquarius happening at the end of the month because these videos about the moon, I've noticed if I put them out like 2 weeks before, they just algorithmically go down to nowhere. I have to wait till closer to the moon. So I just made something up. I had something out on Sunday. I put stuff out on Sundays, Mondays, Sunday, Monday's week ahead, and Thursdays. However, my production schedule is changing. I'm going to start putting out What in the World Wednesdays. It's only going to be world astrology, no all sign stuff. And I will probably dump my Thursdays. And so we'll still have 3 a week, but it'll be a different type of arrangement. Thanks for listening. Don't forget, like, subscribe, check the description box, hit the more button, ... This is probably 2 hours long, but it was all about you and your sign. Do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe, and comment. That does really help me reach that 100,000 subscribers that I'm aiming for. Thanks, guys. Ciao. It's a sunny day in Vancouver, Canada. Can I show it to you again? There we go. It's hard to show you when the sun is shining that brightly, right? I guess so. You get the gist. Bye-bye.